I'm gonna make the Rice Krispies. And then while those are cooling, I'm gonna be trying to temper chocolate using the sous vide. And we attempted to do the chocolate last night and it was a complete failure. Like, I followed the steps and the chocolate didn't set up at all. Like, it was completely melty after putting it in the fridge. So I don't know what happened, but we're gonna try it again. Today I'm going to seed the chocolate and we'll see if it works. So the thing about being gluten-free in Rice Krispies have malt flavoring in them. And that used to not always be the case. I think it's a recent thing where the actual Rice Krispie cereal has malt flavoring in it. So I have Arrowhead Mills puffed rice. This is like a whole grain rice. There's no sugar in here. This should be pretty easy. I'm gonna add probably more marshmallows than the recipe calls for. Like, it calls for 20 marshmallows, so maybe I'll add like 22 marshmallows. So first to melt the butter. I feel like everyone should have made Rice Krispie treats before, right? I actually don't make them that often. I feel like Rob likes them a lot more than I do. So I'm hoping to like drizzle some chocolate on there, and then if the chocolate is actually tempered appropriately, it'll have a nice crunch on, like a shell on the outside. Be very nice for Valentine's Day. Okay, so now I need to melt the butter. Then I add the marshmallows, stir until they're melted, take it off the heat, stir in the rice, and then press it into this container. So I'm gonna put parchment on here because I wanna be able to get the Rice Krispies back out of the dish. 20. Like I said, I'm gonna do a couple extra marshmallows. So I'm gonna do 2 extra because I swear the brown rice like eats up the marshmallows more. Like, they're like drier or something than the regular white rice. Now I just have to like mix this around until the marshmallows are melted. Marshmallows are so gross and weird, but also delicious. Okay, got some of this gluten-free puffed rice. So I only need 3 cups because I'm basically doing a half recipe. I feel like they're like starting to cook. Like they're starting to brown or something. Very gooey. I think those extra 2 marshmallows are gonna make this a lot better than my last batch. Well, that was easy. The only mess is the pan. Guys, are you ready to temper some chocolate? I have some fancy, I don't know how to say the name, Dalrona dark chocolate discs. And so I actually, like, I didn't even look up the company or anything. I just read that this is supposed to be good for tempering chocolate because it has a higher cocoa butter ratio in it compared to like other chocolates. So I'm doing sous vide for this because I do not want to make 1.5 pounds of chocolate, like to dip these Rice Krispies in. This little thing, this 1 pound thing was $20 of chocolate. And so if I mess up this, that's like $20 in the trash, right? And I know you can try and retemper it, but still, like, I'm not willing to do that. Because of that, I decided to try tempering using the sous vide because it's controlled and then everything should be able to be heated evenly throughout. You know, like instead of using like a double boiler where like the chocolate temperature is gonna change on the edges or the top or the bottom too fast if you don't have enough chocolate to like create a big enough thermal mass to like even out the temperature fluctuations. And what I have historically done when I've needed tempered chocolate is I've cheated and added coconut oil. And so coconut oil, if you add that in, will basically make like a fake temper, and it's not going to be shiny. It's not going to be super crisp, but it is going to keep the chocolate from being melty at room temperature. I did some more reading, and so the main way to temper chocolate is to bring it up to 115, bring it down to 82, and then bring it up to 90, and you can hold it at that 90. That's the temperature it needs to be at when you're decorating or doing whatever you're doing. In the sous vide, you would seal it in a bag. We just use like a Ziploc, you know, get it up to temperature, then lower the temperature, and then raise it. But if it's sealed in a vacuum sealed bag, then you can't seed the chocolate, which is another thing I was reading about. So basically I wrote down the directions. So last night I did not seed the chocolate. Today I'm going to attempt seeding it to see if that will temper the chocolate appropriately. So once it's at 115 and then I lower it, that's when I add the extra chocolate. I feel like I'm gonna start with this amount. And it says to add a third in to seed it, so I have 12. Very, very good. So I think I'm gonna set 4 aside to make a third. And then I'm gonna chop it up a little bit. So I'm only gonna start with this much because if I fail, I can bring it back up to temperature and then cool it and reseed it. And so obviously I'll be adding like more and more chocolate to my bag. So yeah, when I first was learning about chocolate or trying to figure out like, hey, how do I even temper chocolate? I didn't realize that like you cannot use chocolate chips to temper because of the soy lecithin or whatever it is in there. Like it's specifically there to keep it from melting. So I didn't know that. So then it took me down this rabbit hole of like, well, what kind of chocolate is good for tempering? And it's this like couverture chocolate. I have no idea how to say it. So I'm just going to put it in the bag like this. So I was reading that like water is basically the devil if you're trying to temper chocolate. So I'm just gonna like put this in here. And so the one problem with this not being vacuum sealed is it wants to float. It's like melting instantaneously. So I have some ice ready, and that is to cool this water to 81 or 82 degrees. So I'm gonna add my extra chocolate in slowly. It says to like basically add it in and make sure it all melts. Okay, so chocolate's melted. Melty. Now I'm gonna get this cooling. So I'll add some ice. Okay, and dry my hands. And add some chocolate. May the force be with me, thank you. I need it. So I'm just gonna add like a little bit of chocolate in here. So it's at 102 now. I obviously don't want to decrease the temperature too fast because then my chocolate isn't gonna melt. Okay, all my little pieces look to be melted. And the sous vide is at 92. So I'm gonna like seal this up, get some more ice. Yeah, I'm gonna set it to 91. Okay, so now it's just heating back up, and there really shouldn't be anything else I have to do to the chocolate. So my plan now is to test the chocolate because it's been sitting here for, I don't know, I didn't start the timer, so it's been sitting here. So I already have a piece of parchment paper from last night's excursions with chocolate. And so apparently what should happen is I should get chocolate that hardens into a shiny thing and it should happen quickly. So we put it in the fridge yesterday and it was not shiny and it was not hard. So let me like reach my knife in here. See what happens. Little poop streaks of chocolate. I mean, so far it looks shiny. I mean, it looks a little duller where it looks like it's like already drying. Actually, okay, I'm gonna say it's not perfect, but I think it's gonna like be pretty good. Like, there's no chocolate on my hand when I touch it. It's definitely not like shiny like it's supposed to be. Like if I touch this, there's no chocolate on my finger. So I feel like that's like really good. That's like a success because that's what I wanted. Like I don't want to have it all melt in my hand. Okay, let's cut these Rice Krispie treats. So my plan is to try and make these into heart-shaped Krispie treats. So this is my plan. I think it looks pretty good. Looks like a heart to me. These are so cute. I'm very pleased. Okay, so my plan was to cut a hole in the side of the chocolate and basically just drizzle it. But I also feel like I could dip the chocolate. I could dip the hearts in the chocolate like I have enough. So I want to try and dip some in here. Okay, now I'm gonna drizzle some. I'm gonna just be on a sugar high all day today, guys. Guys, I'm not very smart. I cut the hole too early. I'm not a chocolatier, guys. So basically I'm like trying to work really fast because I know if the temperature drops, it's like not gonna set up. Guys, these do not look that cute. This is not what I imagined. Oh my god. This is crazy, actually. I know this is tempered because it's already hardened in the bag. Like, I'm not exaggerating. This is hard. Like, I cannot use this. Like, it's already donezo. Well, I have chocolate all over my hands. I got chocolate all over the counter. This looks like turds on my Rice Krispie. So now I know, like, they weren't joking when they said it's gonna cool really fast. And this just solidifies the fact that I've never actually correctly tempered chocolate because it's already done. Like, it's completely hard in this bag. Like, this is hard. Like, I cannot believe how hard the chocolate is. And it does look a little shiny, actually. You guys, look at this.